All right, going live here in a minute, y'all. What's going on? I'm gonna do some post-fight strawweight talk from this past weekend. Just let a few of y'all come on in the chat. Give it about a minute or two. Just see who all comes up in here. Got what, 3 or 4 people in here so far. Yeah, I want to come in here and talk these strawweight fights from this past weekend. Yeah, we can do that. I know it's a rough Monday for some of y'all. I got Monday off today, so I'm good. I'm just chilling, you know. I had to recover from a long work weekend, so I'm just chilling. Just let this chill for a second. Let y'all come on in. Robert Henry, what's going on, man? Just give a few of y'all, give it a little few, about a few minutes here, maybe 2 minutes. Let some of y'all come in. I'm gonna get started anyway in a minute. Yeah, we'll get started here in a minute. Well, all right, y'all. What's going on? Welcome back to another CB99 live stream, Combo Breaker 99, and just wanted to get on here and kind of kick it with y'all and talk on some of these strawweight fights this past weekend. Overall, I enjoyed the matchups. You know, we had some questions answered. You know, we had some questions answered about different styles and, you know, some young fighters on the come up. You know, so let's see, who all do we have? We had Ashley Yoder versus Miranda Granger. Randa Marcos versus Kanako Murata. And of course, we had the Corey McKenna versus Hansen fight, which I'm going to talk about that fight last because there's just a lot of things going on with that fight. You know, a lot of questions answered. And, you know, just some controversy surrounding that fight. You know, I heard some people say Hansen was robbed, but, you know, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The first fight I wanted to talk about was Ashley Yoder versus Miranda Granger. I want to talk about that fight because I want to get that one out of the way because it was the one fight where there wasn't too much going on in it. It was kind of the uneventful fight. And I think that, you know, a lot of people felt that way, you know, especially a lot of casual fans. I heard a lot of people online just saying it was boring. I saw Ashley Yoder, her post-fight interview. Some people were just saying the fight was boring. But overall, man, I enjoyed all 3 fights. I enjoyed that fight as well, just kind of seeing how another fighter can just nullify another fighter's abilities. You know, Ashley Yoder, she was in a must-win situation. You know, Ashley Yoder, she's at a point in her UFC career where she knows her next loss might be it. So there's gonna come a time when a person just has to go in there and get the win. They're not in there to look pretty. They're not trying to go in there for an explosive fight of the night. They're just trying to go in there and get the W at this point. She's 7-6. Well, she's 8-6 now, but she was 7-6. So Ashley Yoder, her whole mind frame in there is to go in there and just beat somebody like Miranda Granger. Miranda Granger is a dangerous opponent. I know Miranda's been out for I want to say she's been out a year since that Lemos loss. So somebody like Miranda Granger, she's ready to get back into the mix. So she wants to go in there and make a statement, beat a veteran like Ashley Yoder. So Ashley Yoder has to be on her game. And going into this one, I made a quick prediction Saturday night, and it was like I said, Ashley Yoder had to go in there and take it to the ground. If she took it to the ground, it was going to be her win. Might be boring, but it was going to be her win. And for Miranda Granger, she had to keep it standing. And that's the thing. Like I said, man, like you can make predictions all day. You can come up with a game plan for these fighters, but it's all about execution. I think Miranda Granger, she had the ability to beat somebody like Ashley Yoder. Miranda Granger, I think she's a very solid technical striker compared to Ashley Yoder. I think she's much sharper, but she had to let her hands go, and she had to use her range, and she didn't use her range enough in this Ashley Yoder fight. Ashley Yoder's wide open to be hit too. She'll come straight in. So I was like, yo, Granger, go ahead and take the chance. Go ahead and counter, land them heavy shots and move. Don't just let her get in the clinch with you and just smother you. And that's what I felt like Miranda Granger, she was letting Ashley Yoder do, just close in and make her fight on the inside. And not even really fight on the inside, but just kind of smother her and then take her to the mat. Because I felt like if she would have used her clinch fighting more, she would have been more successful, because Miranda Granger has some long legs. She's got some long legs, and when she's throwing them knees can reach up to the head. If you've seen some of her past fights, her knees can reach, they can reach from the body to the head. So she could be very vicious on the inside if she's just a little bit more aggressive, But overall, like I said, not too much went on in this fight. It wasn't like I said, definitely wasn't no potential for no fight of the night, but it was what Ashley Yoder needed to do. Just take it to the ground, try to look for a submission, at the same time just frustrate the less experienced fighter on the ground. Just try to tie him up. And that's what it was. At times it was just like a stalemate on the ground. Sometimes it was just like a clinch fest. Ashley Yoder just trying to find her rhythm, find her position where she could win the fight on the judges' scorecards, and that's what she did. It was just like battle of the long limbs in there. They're both 5'7", so they would just look tied up most of the time. So it was really hard to tell who had the dominant position until we got into the second and third round. That's whenever Ashley Yoder started to turn it up. And I thought she was about to get that submission, that rear naked choke in the third round. She started landing some good ground and pound, hitting to the body. Then when she softened Granger up in that last minute, she went to that back and tried to get that choke. But, shout out to Miranda Granger. She held on tight. She held on tight until the end. And, yeah, she lost. She lost all 3 rounds, in my opinion. There's some close moments, but I think Ashley Yoder just, took it with it, took it in ugly fashion. And, that's a win. But real quick, let me see what y'all saying about this fight. Yeah, what's going on, Robert? Ernest Richardson, Dube, in the women MMA thread on Sherdog, they were saying Yoder and Granger were playing Twister until midway through the third. I'm telling you, man. I didn't even know you were going to say so like that. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, yeah, it was just like battle of the long limbs, man. It was just so tied up. At times, Miranda was on top, and then Ashley was on top. And then Ashley was going for an armbar attempt. And then after that, somebody's arm is over somebody's leg. You couldn't really tell what was going on, but that's why I said it was just so many moments where it was a stalemate. So you really had to look hard. You really had to look hard in there to see who was winning. But overall, I could see that Ashley Yoder was winning the fight, in my opinion, because there were too many times where Miranda Granger just looked uncomfortable. She just didn't look like she wanted to be there. So it should have been on her to keep it standing. I mean, I know she's been out of the octagon for like a year, but her game plan should have just been to keep it standing. Fight from a distance and just fight off the strike and keeping Ashley Yoder off her because like I said, Ashley Yoder is very open. Ashley Yoder is a tough fighter that likes to take chances. You gotta capitalize on a fighter like that. Like a fighter that likes to just run in and go for the kill and just put their chin out there. You gotta crack them. And I thought Miranda Granger had the power to crack Ashley Yoder. That's why I was like, if this fight stays standing, I know it's gonna be explosive. I was thinking it's gonna be explosive Saturday, but overall, man, like Ashley Yoder just executed a better game plan, man. But yeah, like I said, not too much going on with that one, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it. I already did a post fight analysis for it. About to upload it. Um, I think overall though, Ashley Yoder she did enough to keep her UFC career afloat. So moving forward from here, I think that I'd either like to see Ashley Yoder in there with Kay Hansen next. What do y'all think about that fight? I'd like to see Ashley Yoder in there with Kay Hansen. That would be an interesting fight. Let the loser of that Corey McKenna, Kay Hansen fight take on Ashley Yoder. Put her to another test. I think Ashley Yoder is kind of like another Randa Marcos where they're very dangerous. Like you never see these fighters dominated or just getting their you never see these type of fighters getting their asses handed to them. They're always fighting a competitive fight up until the end. Between Randa and Ashley, you need fighters like that are going to be like the trial horse for the up and comers. So I like to see Ashley Yoder in there with somebody like Kay Hansen next. I think that Ashley Yoder would take her to school in some departments, especially on heart and just adaptability in there. Let's see, Robert. I'm happy Yoda got the win by any means necessary. She needs to be more defensively responsible. Yeah, yeah, she got to be. I like her heart. I like her killer instinct, but she definitely has to be more responsible with her defense. Stop sticking her chin out there. Because there was a few times Miranda Granger cracked her. She cracked her with some shots as she was coming in. Like I said, that the left hook of Miranda Granger can be a thumper, man. It's got some thump on it. But as for Miranda Granger, I just want to see her go back and do her thing, man. Because she's an exciting fighter. Before she got into the UFC, Miranda, she was finishing people. She had quite a few submission wins. She knows how to soften people up and get to submission. I want to see her go back to the drawing board because there's going to be more tough fights out there. So Miranda Granger, let me see who could she fight next. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure who she could take on and beat. I mean, maybe put her in there, Livinata Souza. Even then, I would favor Souza in that fight, but I think that at 6-1, well 6-2 now, it's just going to get tougher for somebody like Miranda Granger. But she just got to commit to her striking. She just got to commit to her power. You know. But yeah, let's jump to the next fight. Let's see, Robert Henry. I'm out for anybody beating Cicely K. Hansen. I don't but her mind is messed up and she needs to expand her game where she gets ate up in the strawweights. Look, man, I know people won't like it, and of course the fighter won't like it, but yeah, I can break down everything about Kay Hansen that's good and that is everything that's positive and negative about her, but at the same time, why she won't stand up against the top 15 in the strawweight division. And I'm not trying to say, I know everything, but I'm just saying, as somebody who watched all her fights on Invicta FC and then jumped to the UFC, I was kind of like, whoa, don't take that big step yet. I was already kind of like worried for her to that point. I was like, yo, that's a big jump. Because there's a few fighters with belts that have had belts in Invicta that I wouldn't have put in the UFC yet. You know what I mean? I mean, Megan Anderson being one of them. Megan was a perfect example of a fighter who won the featherweight title but wasn't ready for that jump to the UFC yet. And I'm just being honest. That's coming from a fan of Megan, from those Invicta days. I was like, yo, don't jump to the UFC yet and try to call Cyborg out. You still got some growing to do. And that's how I feel about Kay Hansen. Like, you got a lot of growing to do. You're only 21. So it's nothing to set the record, try to set a record, or I'm the youngest person to come to the UFC or whatever like that. What are you just in to set records, or you trying to make a legacy? You know what I mean? But before we jump to Kay Hansen, yeah, let's jump to the second fight. I want to talk about with y'all. Randa Marcos versus Kanako Murata. What did y'all think of that fight? Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought. Got a lot of respect for Randa. You know, I got a lot of respect for Miranda. Excuse me, not Miranda, but I got a lot of respect for Randa Marcos. The Quiet Storm. She's always been one of them fighters that doesn't do a lot of talking. Excuse me, doesn't do a lot of talking. Randa's the type of fighter that goes in there to get the job done, and I know that that's not really appealing to the UFC crowd. The UFC crowd, they want somebody to play the heel or play the villain. They always want somebody to talk trash and put on that type of show out of the octagon. But Randa, I've always liked Randa because she was quiet, and she let her actions do the talking, whether she was winning or losing. You know what I mean? And I respect fighters like that. So to see Randa, rack up another loss, it's like, man, like, dang, it sucks. It does suck, because like I said, she's one of those fighters that makes a big statement just by being her, and I think that the UFC, they still don't like those type of model fighters like that. They always want the villain. They want the ignorance. You know what I mean? But going into this one here, man, honestly, this was a fan pick. Honestly, for me, this was a fan pick. I picked Randa. I was going for Randa, and I said Randa would win by submission, but I knew deep down, technically, man, like, I knew that Kanako was going to be too much for her. Kanako's a ball of energy. That's why I call her. That's my thing. I'm calling her right now. Kanako Murata is a ball of energy. She comes in there. She's doing it all. She's doing a little striking. She's doing feinting. She's fighting you from a range. She's feinting to act like she's going to take you down, and she's going to hit you upstairs. She's taking you down. She's using her wrestling. So there's so many things going for her that I knew she had more than enough to beat Randa Marcos at this point. Kanako, she's former Invicta FC Strawweight champion, and she's one of the fighters. I give her the exception. She is one of the Invicta champions I would graduate to the UFC. She's one of the Invicta fighters right now I would have picked and graduated to the UFC, unlike a Kay Hansen. Like, I know Kay Hansen didn't hold a belt, but I'm just saying, like, Megan Anderson had a belt. I wouldn't have put her in the UFC. Kanako, I would have put in the UFC because she has a lot of tools that I think would give fits to the top 15 strawweights. Kanako she's got something about her that's built to where you can see it in her that she's confident in her style. Confidence is another thing about these fighters. Like Kay Hansen, we're going to talk about her. We're going to be bringing her up because we're going to be doing comparisons here, man. But yeah, comparing Kay Hansen to Kanako Murata, you see confidence in Murata's style, but in Kay Hansen, you see more so. You see the go get him attitude, but I think it's more so juvenile. You know what I mean? It's not really based off of like, I'm confident I can walk this person down and just beat him, because you see too many holes in the game where she's taking too many shots. I think it's still the youth in her that's not really thinking, that's really pushing her forward to take chances. Where Kanako Murata is more so calculated. She's still trying her best not to put herself at risk, but she's taking big chances because, she has that confidence in her wrestling. So I think that's the difference between them. That's why I say I would graduate a fighter like Kanako Murata to the UFC. And I see her giving fighters fits. I see her giving a lot of the top 15 fits, man. Like, you start putting her in there with like Angela Hills and the Verna Gingerobas, even Mackenzie Dern's. Well, I'll hold off on the Mackenzie Dern because there's something I see in Kanaka that a Dern might beat her. But yeah, real quick, man, going back to the fight, Randa Marcos, I didn't see her jabbing enough in this fight. Y'all knew I was gonna bring up the jab, right? You know I'm gonna bring up the jab, man. The jab is one of the most important punches in MMA and boxing, and nobody likes to utilize it. You know, Randa's thing in this fight was to use timing. Randa needed to use timing in this fight. You know, she had the time, the in and out movement. She had the time, the feints. She had the time, the rhythm of a faster fighter to get that long straight left hand down the pipe. But she had maybe success with it once, and she had good success with the leg kicks in like the second round. But she did not put hands on Kanako in this fight. Like, she was jabbing short, not committing to strikes. So Kanako took full advantage of that and would just take her straight to the ground and just really outstrength Randa, you know. And that's why I said the keys to beating Randa is activity and having a gas tank. You know, you got to have activity and you got to keep it moving. You know, if you get outland and just outwork Randa, then you got it. And that's what Murata was able to do. Hold on, let me check the chat real quick. Gary, Murata wrestling is going to be a problem for several strawweights. Yeah. Ernest Richardson, Murata is officially the best active MMA women's wrestler in the game right now. Yeah, that's a bold statement, but I can see it. Gary Baldwin, Murata. Yeah, Murata is a world-class wrestler. Yeah, man. Robert, I rewatched the fight last night, and she didn't seem to have the ability to pull the trigger, especially on the feet. Now, she did come on late in most of the third. She really did try to win. Also, Randa seems kind of wore down, not as inspired. In my video, I talked how she and Hill have both fought the most fights in the history. Murata's wrestling was tough. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, because they came Randa and Angela Hill. You know, they were in the same tough house together. You know, they were in that tough house and they came up at the same time. So, yeah, they had about the same number of fights because, you know, they're two of the fighters in the UFC that'll take short notice fights. You know, they'll take them just like that. But I think comparing Randa and Angela, I think the focus with Angela is there, though. You know, Randa, I could see how she's kind of losing focus and seeming less inspired as she used to be. But Angela, I could see her kind of growing because you can see some growth in Angela. Like, I think Angela believes in herself just a little bit more. I mean, that's kind of tough that's kind of harsh to say, but I just kind of see it. Or maybe she more so believes in the model behind her right now. Maybe because they're helping push Angela Hill a little bit more, because Angela Hill has a loss to Randa Marcos. You know, Randa Marcos submitted Angela Hill, but Angela Hill is still going. You know, Angela Hill, I know she's had some raw ends, and she's just kind of been on the a lot of people's hate train as well. You know, Angela Hill, you know, she deals with a lot of different things in the UFC. People just disliking her, don't like her style, and then people just don't like her because of her race. So, you know, Angela Hill is a fighter that's dealt with a lot, and she learned how to make lemonade out of lemons. Let's put it that way. So, you know, I think she kind of feeds off of that energy, and that's why she seems more inspired right now than Randa Marcos. Randa, I think it's just the behind the scenes thing with her where I said, like, they give her those ultimatums. You know, it's like, you take this fight or we're going to cut you. You know, they're constantly putting her in that situation. That's why it kind of shows in her performances. It's starting to kind of show in her performances. But I think she also just needs another, I think she just needs maybe a change in atmosphere, change in team. You know, maybe she just needs a change in team to, you know, kind of help her resurrect herself and, you know, kind of get back where Angela Hill is. You know, help her kind of get back that kind of focus. Because, like I said, it's crazy. You know, Randa got the submission win over her, but, you know, at the same time, you know, Angela Hill's been through the worst. You know, she's been through them storms, and, you know, she's still doing well. But yeah, looking at Randa's record right now, she's lost 3 in a row to top young lions. She's lost 3 in a row to the next 3 top promising fighters in the strawweight division. All right, she's lost. She's 0-3 this year. She's lost to Amanda Rebus. She's lost to Mackenzie Dern. And now she's lost to Kanako Murata. So my question to y'all is, do y'all think the UFC will cut Randa Marcos now? When you really put that in perspective and you look at the caliber of fighters she's lost to, like, do you think they're gonna cut Randa now? And while y'all answer that question, let me see. What's going on, Marcus? Marcus Bell in the building. Robert Henry, but she did beat Carla, and when she armbarred Hill, she had that fire that night. Randa and Hill had beef at the time. I think a lot of it's mental. Hill deals with pressure a little better. Yeah, man. That's what I said. She makes lemonade out of lemons, but she keeps going with the flow, you know. Gary Bald and Angela Hill is also getting gigs as an analysis in the UFC. Yeah, she's kind of put herself in better situations. You know, she's using her character to her advantage, doing so much more for herself. Robert, let's see, Marcus, nothing much. But Antonina about to get the Lipskis, but Gary, yeah, you think she's getting cut? Gary thinks she's getting cut. Marcus said she's out. Ernest Richardson, I smell Luana Pinheiro before the year is out or January. Wait, Luana versus who? Yeah, Luana Pinheiro. Yeah, I know what you mean. As the same person. Okay. Robert, that's true. Angela has been out to cleavage her career better, and they have seemed to work with her more than Hill. You mean more than Randa, right? They seem to work with her more than Randa. I smell Luana versus Marcos before the year is out or January 2021. I could see that fight. That would be the last straw right there, though. Ernest, yeah. If they made Luana Pinheiro versus Marcos, if they make that fight by the end of the year or beginning of 2021, and they give her that fight and she graduates with flying colors, then Randa Marcos is gone. If she gets 0-4 and you lose that many times the top contenders and prospects, yeah, you're gone. I think Randa's out, sadly. Yeah. So everybody thinks Randa's out, but I talked about it in my post fight just a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna bring it up now. But in my opinion, I could see them keeping her. Because I don't think that she doesn't really like lose like in a humiliating fashion. Like, she's not getting beat to a pulp. You know, she's not getting knocked out. She's not getting finished quick. You know, I think she's a good test for a lot of fighters. You know, I think she is a good test, which proves, you know, somewhat, you know, they put her in there with a lot of these up and comers like Rebus, Derns, and Murata. You know, so she's still a good test. So you see these type of fighters in boxing, you know, they got like maybe like 30 wins, but they be having like 30 losses too, but they never been knocked out or they never been finished, maybe like once or twice. So they keep those kind of fighters around because they do promote, they bring some type of test where a fighter has to dig deep, because there's a lot of young up and comers that are like, I'm gonna finish this fighter quick, and then it's somebody with experience like them that gives them their toughest fights. You know, like Roxanne. You know, Roxanne got like 20 losses, right? Almost 20 losses, but she's still like beating hype trains. But if you got the skill to beat her, then hey, that was a, you know, that's another feather in your cap. You know what I mean? You know, that's a feather in your cap if you're able to do that. Because like I said, Roxanne, everybody thought that Macy Barber was going to go in there and blast her out, right? But Roxanne put it on her. Macy Barber had the confidence. She was like, oh, I see that record. I'm going to beat her. So, you know, there's going to be situations like this. Like, for example, like Ernest Richardson said, like Luana Pinheiro she might be in there with Randa next. Luana might have that confidence too, where it's like, oh, I see the 10-10 record. I'm gonna beat her easy. I'm gonna beat her better than everybody else. So let her go in there and watch Randa beat her. Watch this be the one fight where Randa wins. You know what I mean? So you do have to kind of keep fighters like this around. You need these type of fighters. Like I said, the journeyman slash trial horse. Marcus, are you calling Randa a stepping stone? Hey, I didn't say that. I mean, if you continue to let the fighters, graduate from you, then yeah. I mean, I call them a test. I'm not calling her a stepping stone. I call her an exam to see how good you are. I'll put it that way. But yeah. So moving forward for Randa, everybody thinks she's gonna get cut in the chat. Sadly, but I'm gonna go against. I'm gonna say I hope. Well, me hoping she doesn't get cut versus her getting cut are two different things. So I think she probably will, but I hope they don't cut her because, like I said, I think that she can still. I think she can still be in there and hold her level down. Like I don't necessarily see her digressing. I don't see her falling or deep. She's not really like falling off the map from her level, but at the same time, the more and more you take these L's, your mental will break. At 35, your mental is gonna break at some point. You're just not gonna fight to full potential anymore. Robert, as soon as I comment able mental health, Google deletes my comment. Huh? That's weird. I never seen that before. I mean, I never have, but damn, a lot of sensitivity in there, huh, Robert? That's crazy. But yeah. So Kanako Murata, like I said, she's like this. She's all around growing complete fighter. I know her main thing is wrestling, right? Her main thing is to go in there and wrestle. She's a world class wrestler, physically strong fighter. I think I think her move to the UFC was a wise choice because, like I said, I think she could definitely give some of the toughest fighters some fits. And she's at that point where she is who she is, but at the same time, she's gonna evolve and she's gonna grow with the competition. Like Kanako is a type of fighter where I think whatever type of competition she's in there with, she's always gonna try to step it up a little bit more. When she was in there with some of these fighters in Invicta, she was able to step out of the box. Even for the short extent she was there, she was there for like two fights for the Invicta for her Invicta career, just two fights. But she went in there, got a submission one time, and then she fought Emily Ducote. Close fight, but she won. She won the championship and she graduated. Before that, she was in Rising. She was finishing people in Rising. So whatever organization she's in, around that level of opponents. Oh yeah, did y'all know she submitted Angela Magana? Yeah, that was on my mind. Yeah, I meant to bring that up in my post fight when I was talking about. I was like, I remember she submitted Angela Magana. But yeah, anyway, Kanaka Murata, like I said, now that she's in the UFC and she starts with these the lower level of strawweights, I think that's going to be good practice for her, good confidence builders for her. So with that being said, who do y'all want to see? Who do y'all want to see Kanako Murata fight next in this strawweight division? Who do you think Kanako Murata is going to be matched up against? Let me see. Let me go down the list here. Do y'all think Kanako Murata is ready for the top 15? I don't know. I'm looking at the top 15 right now. Let me see. Does Livianata Souza, does she have a fight lined up? Because we could put her in there with her. Let's put Kanako Murata in there with Souza. You know, see how that physical strength deals with the grappling. Wrestler versus grappler, right? So Verna Jandaroba and Dern, they're about to fight. You know what would be interesting? Angela Hill. What? Watch them put Angela Hill in there with Kanako Murata. I think they're gonna do that. Kanako Murata and Angela Hill. That might be the next fight they try to make. I can't even believe Felice Herrig is still number 14 at this point. You know what else? I said this on my post fight video. I don't know, my mind was kind of blanking. Corey McKenna. Corey McKenna is the next fight that they should put Kanako Murata in there with. That would be the logical fight. You know, the winners of the fights this past Saturday should be facing each other. You know, minus the Yoder and Granger fight. You know, I think that Corey McKenna, 21-year-old, close to complete fighter for her age, would be a nice matchup for Kanako Murata. Also, another fighter who has tools. You know, who's a wrestler but has a lot of tools going for it. You know. And let me see what y'all saying in the comment section. I would say cut Randa in center and Invicta in order to sharpen up her skills and bring her back. Robert, I believe people like Randa get controlled by companies like the UFC. Not that she's free of any responsibility for this situation. Yeah. Gary K. Hansen or Corey McKenna. Yeah, I'd rather Kanako versus Corey McKenna. That fight would be good. Ernest Richardson, Kanako, and Souza were supposed to fight this past weekend. They rebooked that fight. Well. That would be either one of those fights, Souza or McKenna. Yeah, Gary, but I remember now. Yeah, Hill's got the rematch coming up. Dang, I keep forgetting about that fight. Hill got the rematch coming up with Torres. Marina Rodriguez is my mildly attractive MMA fighter crush, but Kanako mauls her. Yeah, when you get Marina Rodriguez to the ground and she's on her back, she's pretty defenseless. You know, Marina Rodriguez, she has that reach and that long jab, but when she gets caught up in like a grapple fest or like a dog fight and you get her to the mat, she's in trouble. That's what I'm saying. Kanako could give a lot of these top strawweights trouble. Starting with 15 through 10, you know, when she starts beating them fighters 15 through 10, then we'll talk, you know, of course, top 10. 9 and above, yeah. Robert, I'm a fan of Murata. Who cares? So who cares? But I don't know. Maybe her and Yoder would be a good fight. Yeah, her and Yoder. Yeah, Ashley Yoder. That would be interesting too. You know, either of those winners from Saturday night, kind of mixing it up. But yeah, overall, I like Murata. I like what she brings to the table. I think she's much needed for the strawweight division, and Corey McKenna is much needed. You know, another young buck coming up in here, 21, with the skills to back it up. You know, so with that being said, bringing up Corey McKenna, let's talk about that fight, man. Now, I talked about it in my post fight. I kind of felt like this fight was closer. Corey McKenna versus Kay Hansen. First off, I feel like that fight was closer than it should have been. It was a little too close for comfort. You know, I picked Corey McKenna to win this fight, but I feel like Corey gave Kay Hansen way too many chances in this fight. And I don't know if it has something to do with like what Robert Henry you brought up about her interview where, you know, she said she didn't want to steal Kay Hansen's thunder. You know, I watched it. You know, I watched the interview and she did say something like that. You know, I don't want to steal her thunder. You know, I don't want to take her shine. But with that type of mentality, you know, that means you're just looking at go in there and put on a fight, not necessarily get the W. You know, I don't know if that was kind of hindering her full on thinking in this fight. But I mean, you got to go in there and get the win. You got to go in there and get it. That's the mentality you want to see from a 21-year-old. And that's the mentality Kay Hansen had in this fight. Kay Hansen, her mentality was to go in here and get it, even though she doesn't have the skills to fully get it. So, that's what kind of made the fight even to me. At times, I feel like McKenna had the ability to make this more so one-sided. I feel like McKenna didn't commit to the striking like she should have. She went in there and traded too much. Like, she could have timed Kay Hansen's right hand. She could have timed Kay Hansen's jab. Don't go in there and go blow for blow with the fighter, then step out, go blow for blow with the fighter, step out. There was too many trading moments in there where it was kind of tough to call. But I will say this, McKenna was finishing off her combinations with that nice left hook. So she was winning the stand-up battle in spots. But when you're talking about the judges looking from the outside, the judges, they're going to look at like, man, I don't know what the judges look at. Sometimes judges are looking at the phone, they're looking at food, they're not paying attention to the fight. So let's say we're talking about competent judges. Competent judges, they're going to be looking for effective punching, So if McKenna, you let Kay Hansen get off a big right hand and it hurts you, the judges, they're going to look at that over your combination that didn't really do a dent in Kay Hansen. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not effective with a combination, but your opponent, they hit you with like a big right hand and knock you back or rock you, then they're gonna score that. That's how judges do sometimes. So you got to take away every advantage of a fighter and put it in your favor. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Corey McKenna had every advantage to make this more so one-sided. Because Jin Frey, she was doing work on Kay Hansen until she got submitted. She was rocking her, putting the left hand in her face, busted her up, had her bleeding. And like I said, for the record, there was blood in this fight. I said that in my prediction. There would be blood in this fight, and Kay Hansen was bleeding again. But yeah, Corey McKenna, she could have just jabbed this. She could have jabbed Kay all day, just jabbed and moved and set up good counter punches instead of, going blow for blow. And she wouldn't have got taken down if she had taken that approach. Like I said, that's just my personal opinion and my observation from the outside looking in and what I've seen her do. I'm not saying hey, this is easy, but I'm just saying, like, going by these type of opponents, I've seen McKenna in there with before. I felt like she could go in there and nullify the wrestling of Kay Hansen altogether. Let me check the chat real quick. Let's see. Marcus Bell, that fight would be like Baby Bandman versus Spider Monkey. Oh, you talking about Kay Hansen versus Yoder? Oh, okay. Ernest Richardson used to train with Rousey in judo. So yeah, Corey McKenna, that first round, she did have some good moments, with the 1, 2, 3s, good straight right hand, and ended it with that left hook. So yeah, she was staying up on points with those effective strikes. But like I said, when she started letting Kay Hansen barrel in and get takedowns and get in those dominant positions, that's when I was kind of like iffy about the decision going her way. First round, McKenna, don't get me wrong, she was very effective. Fighting harder than she should have. But she definitely used it. She definitely took advantage of the ground more so than Kay Hansen. Even like when Kay Hansen was on the back of Corey McKenna, Corey McKenna was still throwing strikes behind her, still trying to hit that head, just adding points up. So she made it look more so like, hey, I can still win even in a compromised position, But Kay Hansen was getting in close. She was closing the distance, landing a good right hand, landed a good body kick in the second round, some good knees. Back to the first round, she landed some good knees to the head and kind of dropped. Looked like she almost dropped McKenna with one of them knees to the head too. I think she kind of dropped her. Like when she hit the mat, that's whenever Kay Hansen went in and got the back. So first two rounds, it was split to me. Round one went to McKenna, then Kay Hansen definitely won the second off of her effective striking. But that third round, man, that was a close one. That third round was close, yo. I'm not gonna lie, because when Kay Hansen got that takedown, I thought they were gonna give the round to her for that ground control, but they must have looked at the strength of McKenna. You know, when McKenna started landing more elbows off of her back, and then she flipped Kay Hansen, and was able to finish the round on the top position. So that third round to me, very close. But when you see what McKenna was able to do with the work, I gave it to her. But again, from the corner, if I was in the corner, I would have been worried. I would have been worried about what the judges saw, especially like I said, when they see Kay Hansen as a favorite, I would have been worried. I wouldn't have been like 100% sure that my fighter won. But I know it's been going around online, people saying that Kay Hansen was robbed. When we talk about that, I personally don't think that Kay Hansen was robbed. This was a very competitive fight, very close competitive fight. And when you talk robbery, robbery is whenever you just straight up take a decision from somebody that knows they didn't get it, let's say Kay Hansen won all three rounds and all of a sudden, bam, that's when you take away a person's hard work and you just say, oh, they give it to the wrong person. That's robbery. This fight was too close where you could just call it robbery. So Kay Hansen wasn't robbed. Kay Hansen just got too many mistakes, and she just sets herself up for failure when she's just walking in and taking punches the way she does, when she just goes in there and throws and looks for these bolos, and then after that, she's just coming in head first and looking to wrestle. I mean, you're not really setting yourself up to win. I was just reading this chat. Let me see. McKenna had the advantage of being about to slowly let her game come her this because she was fighting someone that couldn't make her skills, that couldn't prove her skills, I guess. But moving in comp, she'll have to have a slayer's mentality. Yeah. Robert Henry, that last comment was written horribly. All right, Gary Ball in this fight confirms that neither are ready. Killer instinct wise, Corey McKenna's not ready. But tool wise, she has the tools. Got the tools. Ernest Richardson, back on topic though, Attic pointed out Kay Hansen keeps her head on the center line. Someone with even a slight boxing background like Kay should have better head movement. Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, she just runs straight in. She just runs straight in. That's why she could have got picked apart with the jab all night. Like, if McKenna just stuck the jab in her face all night, that would have been the end of it. Just stick it in her face all night and then boom, catch her with the right hand. And yeah, Kay Hansen, she does have a boxing background, because in the beginning, when she was fighting for an Invictus, she was fighting for Roy Jones Boxing. She was on UFC Fight Pass. She took a couple of boxing matches. So she been staying active. Like when she was 18, 19, she was taking boxing. She was taking some pro bouts or amateur bouts or whatever. But I can't believe it's not showing in her performances. It's definitely not showing in her performances. Yeah, because I see her on UFC Fight Pass with Roy Jones Jr. Boxing, his promotion. And she took maybe like a fight or two. She took a fight or two right after an Invicta fight, just to kind of honing up her boxing skill, which she must have abandoned. She must have abandoned it because, she didn't really get the head movement thing down. Gary Baldwin said Kay Hansen would have got blasted by any top 15 striker. Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So yeah, like when you look at Kay Hansen technically, okay, so yeah, she got the killer instinct. She got to go get him attitude. But when you look at her technically, like who is she gonna stand up to in the top 15 strawweight division? So I mean, yeah, she's 21, yeah, but like I know you want to bring in young blood, but you need to bring in some young smart blood. Young blood with IQ already. That's the reason you're looking at promising young fighters. Promising young fighters mean fighters with the potential to be threats to this top 15 you got in the UFC. Oh, real quick. Robert Henry, to me, K. Hansen didn't do enough on the ground. I hate when takedowns get scored too high. Unless your name is Khabib, you can't assume that you're doing a lot on the ground. Yeah, they score takedowns high, man. Like, you could box somebody all day, but it seems like when you get one takedown, that takedown nullifies it. And I hate that. I personally hate that. Sorry, had to mute myself. I was coughing. But yeah, I hate that, man. I really do hate that whenever they score a knockdown or they score a takedown higher than like you jabbing the hell out of somebody for like 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden you get a takedown in like 20 seconds. That scores the round for you. You know what I mean? But we have really got to see. I mean, we've really gotten to see what Kay Hansen brings to the table in the UFC. I mean, she's 1-1 now. She came with the behind the back win against Jin Yu Frey after getting outstruck and just outpunched and outboxed. And now we see the same thing here again. And at the same time, when we see her on the ground, we don't really see her having like a dominant position on the ground, like Robert Henry said too. Like, we didn't see her in like a dominant position in her wrestling. Like, it wasn't enough. Like, her wrestling wasn't enough. So, what kind of threat is she going to be to the top 15? Was this a good idea just assigning her yet? In my opinion, no. It's definitely not a good idea signing her because, like I said, there's so many other fighters that that could have been put in the UFC first. Aaron Blanchfield. Aaron Blanchfield was a fighter that I feel like they could have put in the UFC before I would put her. Aaron Blanchfield is also like 21, 22. Um, has a win over Kay Hansen. Also has a win over Kay Hansen. So, she is a fighter that could have been put in the UFC. But it's kind of good that she didn't because at least she can kind of, get humbled a little bit and grow as a fighter as well. But as for Kay Hansen, like I said, you losing on this level. I know they trying to see her as like this next star maybe, but it wasn't a good move. It's definitely not a good move. But Corey McKenna, I think the only thing that's holding her back is that kill switch. You know what I mean? Like, well, I won't say the kill switch is the only thing holding her back. I think it's just like fully committing to your technical skills. Now, you got better footwork, you got better punch placement than somebody like Kay Hansen. So take advantage of it. Don't go in there and trade. Don't go in there and go toe to toe. Just because you're young and you got the youth, just just go in there, box circles around the fighter, strike circles around the fighter. Don't put yourself at risk. Because I mean, yeah, you're 21, but you go into all these wars, you're going to take like 5 years off your life or 5 years off your MMA career just by, going in wars in every single fight. But yeah, overall, I didn't think this fight was a robbery, man. I thought it was straight up. I didn't think it was robbery. I thought it was straight up uh, close at times competitive fight. Corey McKenna did the better effective striking, and Corey McKenna made better use. She made better use of the moments on the ground, which I was surprised that the judges they actually got it right this time. When they saw a fighter actually fighting off her back and actually flipping her opponent to kind of counter the takedown. They were actually they were all taking notes this time. We had some decent judges for a change. Because believe me, man, if they would have gave this win to Kay Hansen, man, who knows how that would have put Kay Hansen's mind frame. She would have been like, "Oh, I could beat anybody." So maybe this was a humbling experience for her. Well, it definitely is. Robert Henry don't even score really strong submission attempts as much as they do takedowns. I mean, if you're power slamming them down and you get a good few licks, yeah, dragging him in. Shoot, cause Jessica Andrade, like when she be slamming you, yeah, damn right, I'll score that. If she pick you up and slam you, if she pick you up and slam you, then damn, yeah, I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'm giving her this round. And then she's like damaging you. And she said dragging him into wrestle sex. Gary Ball, I was surprised y'all got the decision over Claudia since control is favored over actual damage so often. Um, I wasn't too surprised with that one because I felt like Yawn pretty much was pitching the shutout with her hands. I think that Yawn was doing a great job, as far as what she could do. I mean, I would have liked to seen her try to finish Claudia, really put hands on Claudia, but I think she did well enough to not let the judges rob her. But yeah, man, Kate Hansen, uh, still a lot of room to grow. Like I said, the UFC may not be for her yet. She might have to go back to Invicta and just work out the skills and work on her timing, work on her head movement, work on her defense. She's very strong. She's a very strong wrestler, but you can't always depend on behind the back wins. You can't really just depend on behind the back wins where it's like, okay, I might be down, but that arm bar is coming. That arm bar is coming. Can't always think that submission is coming. You got to go in there and fight. And Corey McKenna, I think her and a Kanako Murata matchup would be interesting. Or if they put one of them in there with Ashley Yoder, that would be cool. But I like to see Ashley Yoder and who was that? K Hansen next. Mm. If she lost it, if Ashley Yoder beat Kay Hansen too, then they might be cutting her short for real. But yeah, overall, man, we had some entertaining fights. All three of them were pretty entertaining to me. Um, I just felt like the Miranda and Ashley fight was more so uneventful, but it was just kind of interesting to see if Ashley was going to be able to pull out a victory and what she was going to do, and she was able to do it. So all in all, man, my predictions are pretty much right this weekend. Except Randa. I mean, like I said, Randa, that was a fan pick. When I do fan picks, they're never really going to be right because you're just picking a fan. You're just a fan picking. But technically, I knew that Kanako Murata was going to win the fight. Let me see here. Let's go to the chat. Gary, I was surprised. Oh yeah, I read that. Marcus, I think the UFC really want to spice it up with prospects. They would put Cheyenne Bays against Luana Pinheiro. Oh, the Warrior. That's the Warrior Princess, right? Yeah. Robert Henry, Jessica Andrade, be spirit bombing them girls. She slam people like she's trying to tell. Hey man, yeah, she be slamming you like you trying to go through the ground, boy. She be trying to get you in there. Marcus Bell, Jessica Andrade look like she gonna put Claudia in one of those Brock Lesnar slams. Claudia fought the wrong fight, man. Hang on 1 second, I'll be right back. Let me mute for a second. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. All right, so yeah, I had like 8 or 9 people in here. Just might hit a thumbs up there. Just in case y'all forget to hit thumbs up. I think that helps my notifications too if y'all hit thumbs up on there. So yeah. But yeah, so we're doing a little bit of strawweight talk here. So who are some of the strawweight fights? What are some of the strawweight fights y'all want to see next in this division, man? Yeah, so those are some of the fights that I want to see now that these three of six have fought. I want to see Kanaka Murata versus Corey McKenna next, K Hansen, Ashley Yoder, and then I guess Randa could fight. Yeah, Miranda Granger and Randa could fight. Marcus said he wants to see Jillian and Talia Santos. All right, we got that's flyweight. What about strawweight? Who do you want to see matched up in these next few strawweight fights? Let's see. So, all right. Gary said Corey McKenna versus Loma Labutni. That would be a good fight. That would be it. That would be a good fight. Very very tough fight. I think that Loma her focus would be a lot more interesting. Because I think that she's more so committed to getting off her kicks and getting off her strikes and not getting hit. So yeah, Loma's gonna be a handful for Corey McKenna, Gary. That would be a nice matchup though. And the way Kay Hansen landed a couple body kicks, I think that she's prone to some body kicks. So yeah, that would be interesting. Robert Henry, you mean Drive was going to F5 Claudia? Yeah, I used to watch a little bit of wrestling back in the early 2000s. Yeah, I ain't watched wrestling like 20 years, man. Like, yeah, I haven't kept up with wrestling like 20 years. Marcus Joanna versus Jan. Yeah, that would be an interesting fight. I saw that post you did too, Marcus. Because I saw that on Joanna's Instagram that I didn't really pay it no mind. I thought it was an old picture, but I see she's back to training at ATT. So I might do a video just talking about that because I know Joanna, she gets a lot of flack from people, because of her playing the villain. But I think that the strawweight division needs her. She's only been out since the Wei Lee fight, but I feel like her style is needed though. Because she likes to fight. Got a resume, got a solid fighting style that I think everybody enjoys. So Joanna's one of those fighters, love her or hate her, you want to see her in there. Because you want to see her. If you love her, of course, you want to see her win. But if you hate her, you want to see her with that head the size of a two footballs. I don't know what, or a football helmet under the head. Yeah, so we give Joanna hell, but she's a perfect villain in the UFC. Yeah, and exciting fighter to watch, man. Like I said, yeah, I just like her style of fighting, so I can't really be mad at a fighter that's about their business too. Like, how many other flyweights and fighters in the women's MMA can you say are about their business and are about have a good balance of fighting and a business? You know what I mean? Like, not many can do that. Not many can do that like Joanna's done it. So I'm not ready for her to retire. So yeah, that's a video I'm going to talk about Marcus Bell. That's a video I'm going to have to do. You know, I'm going to have to do that video if she comes back, or if she's working on coming back. Shoot. So yeah, just so y'all know too, I'm gonna start doing some more boxing live streams here too. So if y'all are a fan of boxing, you know, come through the live stream. You know, if y'all are a fan of boxing, come through the live stream because I might get right back on here and talk about Terrence Crawford and Kell Brook in like 30 minutes. You know, I might do that 30 minutes because I'm up chilling. So yeah, I mean, if y'all know other people who like boxing, you know, just tell them to come over here and subscribe more because you know boxing that's my one love. So I gotta start back, you know, getting on my boxing talk here with y'all. So yeah, like right after I get off here, I'm gonna you know talk on Terrence Crawford and his win. So yeah, let's see. Robert JJ is not necessarily a good person, but she's a great villain. Yeah, yeah. Like hey, I don't know anybody, any of them personally. You know what I mean? So it's like yeah, like Joanna, like what she presents to the table. A lot of fighters can follow that. You know, a lot of fighters can really follow what she's doing because what she's doing is not a bad thing. As far as being negative, as far as uh how she's making her money, how she trains, and you know, Marcus Bell fantasy fight Joanna versus Calvillo. Both of them will trash talk each other. Yeah, interesting fight though. I mean, style wise, you gotta get past her jab. You get past her jab and get her to the ground. But yeah, y'all might wrap this one up here in like 8 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up in about 8 minutes. So what else we got going on tomorrow? I'll probably get back on and talk some flyweight talk because yeah, 3 fights this past weekend of strawweights, and this weekend we got 3 flyweights. So yeah, it's getting real now, man. November 21st. Of course, we got Chikeg and Calvillo. Who else is on that card? Oh yeah, Lipsky versus Antonina. Then the main event we got Shevchenko versus Maya. So you know, yeah, it's another big weekend coming up, man. Robert Henry, I talked about the dichotomy of the fighter villain on last week's episode. Yeah, I heard some of that. Yeah, I heard a little bit of that talk on there. Yeah, that's good. I need to set my game up and learn how to chop segments up for reposts. I'll figure it out soon. Just need to learn the software. Yeah, if you use like a was it just to chop up the audio like Audacity or something like that, just use Audacity. You know, something free. You just use Audacity to chop it up. Marcus Bell said Lipsy is going down. Lipsy's going down. It's gonna be a good fight. That's probably gonna be a better fight than I think a lot of people are gonna anticipate. That a lot of people anticipate, man. Because I just feel like Antonina knows that this is like a situation where she gotta win, man. Because people are talking, you know. The next 3 major cards should be pretty big to the end of the year. Yeah, how many? Yeah, we got 3, right? We got the yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades fight. I'm looking forward to that fight. Yeah, that's a big one on the next card. That next Saturday, I want to see that card. And dang, I see Marion Renault and Macy Chiasson got a fight coming up. That's gonna be crazy. I wish Macy Chiasson was at featherweight though, man. That's where I was a fan of her. I think that's where she's stronger, man. But yeah, man. If y'all haven't heard my interview I did last week too with Megan Penny, she's fighting this weekend or fighting this Friday on the Invicta FC 43 card. Y'all check that out, man, because I think she's a pretty interesting fighter. She just mentioned the fact that she knows it's important to get on and talk to media outlets as far as online and kind of do that to help her brand. So she's pretty cool. Megan Penny. Megan Penny, yeah. Robert, let's see. Antonita needs to ignore the external pressures and go out there and what she needs to. Yeah, Macy, I'm not going over there in that empty division. Yeah, I mean, she knows there's nobody there over there to face. There's no money over there right now because there's no division, and she's being wise. Like, Macy's not sacrificing herself to fight a Nunez. Like, she's not fighting a Nunez or a Felicia Spencer yet because she's still growing. That's what I like about her. Like, if they had a division, she could grow in that division. So she's doing smart now. I mean, physically and health wise, I don't know because I don't know how much she's really. I don't know how hard she's working to cut down to 135. But in the meantime, if 135 is where she can fit and just grow as a fighter, then that's fine. But I'm sure when they bust out with more featherweight, she's probably going to move right back up. You know, she seemed like the type, like she said, she would do that. So maybe she's just waiting on more featherweights to come in. Yeah, thanks, Robert. Yeah, she's an interesting fighter. Like I said, definitely supporting her. Like I said, because she's all about that at the moment. She's all about that. Trying to build her brand with the with more so, like I said, doing interviews and talking. She's cool with that. So yeah, this weekend we got Invicta FC coming on Friday. We got that card on Friday, and then yeah, we got this flyweight fight, flyweight card, heavy flyweight card. Women's bantamweight isn't all that good, but at least they have fights compared to women's featherweights. Yeah, at least they got fighters. At least they got a roster. Featherweights don't even got a roster. Bantamweights, man. I know we complain about them. At least we got a division. But yeah, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, it's about 8 minutes. So yeah, 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. I'll probably get off here. And then, like I said, I'll probably jump back on in a minute just to kind of talk about Terrence Crawford, do live stream for boxing. Gotta do some boxing talk. Maybe 9 o'clock. Probably 9 o'clock or something. Yeah, yeah, I'll get on here tomorrow and talk to flyweights, like I said, because this Calvillo Chikagan fight, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting, man. I think it's gonna be. I'm favoring Calvillo in that fight, but it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a close fight. What do y'all think, man? What do y'all think about that fight, Caitlyn and Cynthia? They had a bunch of women's boxing matches this past weekend too, man. I was like, dang. Um, I was looking at the Katie Taylor fight too, man. Katie Taylor talking about fighting Chris Cyborg, so that's some boxing and MMA stuff I have to talk about too, man. I haven't got on that because I saw not Kay Hansen. I saw Katie Taylor's fight this past weekend, and they had some good women's boxing too, man. So I'm gonna jump talk about some of that. Maybe tomorrow I'll do that though. Robert, yeah, I need to make dinner real for real. But afterwards, I'll jump back on with chat. Yeah, I'll probably get back on at 9. Switch it on some boxing talk. Marcus here said got Cynthia. Yeah, that's what I kind of lean towards. But yeah, I'm gonna probably get back on and do a little bit of boxing talk. Talk Terrence Crawford some and what's next for him. And yeah, just kind of fill y'all in on some channel changes. Just what I'm gonna start doing on the channel more. Yeah, what I'm gonna start doing over here. So yeah, just keep supporting. And yeah, appreciate it, Robert Henry, for always sharing the videos and stuff on the Lions Den Women's Mixed Martial Arts page. I appreciate that. And shout out to Marcus and Gary, always coming through, and Ernest for coming through. But yeah, I'll probably be back on like another 45 minutes. I'll see y'all in a little bit. But if y'all don't come back, just make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Peace.